Dumelang ra la amogela on this Tuesday morning here on a Daily Teta on SABC1. Now, of course, last night we heard the president mention or make a declaration that the national state of disaster has finally come to an end, immediate effect at midnight, I think.
Now, there are still some rules, like the usage of course, a mask, and these are amongst the things that are important for the next 30 days. So, will they change it? Because I know some people are ready to not wear their mask already. Today on today's show, we get to speak about local brands. Local brands are a key part of umnotho wetu. But we want to understand what abantu who buy local, that they buy into it. We are asking the question: are we giving our local brands enough exposure and support for consumption, or are we also a bit skeptical? Because kunabantu abakhetha ukuthi bathenga ama brands internationally bangathengi ekhaya, and suppose ukuthi kungani bagcina sebenza lokho. Bukele kamele dwakamiya ukugcwala usibuzizo umunja ukhona Andis Wagebasha, who is a sign language interpreter, but also we get to understand the mind of the consumer and also the person who actually creates the brand.
Now, there's a survey called the Icon Brand Survey done by Ask Africa, and it is a market research company, right? Now, what is the insight that we've gotten from that survey? It shows that South African consumers actually have a strong brands locally, and simply because it gives them a sense of a belonging. Now, as much as we love South African brands, the question that we're asking, when you are making a choice and the preferences of the brands that you are choosing, are you still choosing South African local brands, or are you choosing those international brands? But also, what makes a South African brand local? South Africa, therefore it makes it local. Are you feeling like South Africans are giving you enough support, not only from a consumer perspective, but I guess, you know, from funding, from the DTI, from whoever it is, these funding agencies that actually do exist? I want to find out from that, because I think also the process of just making and having the guts to create a local brand, it's something quite amicable. You
look at things like Ichemer, which is a local brand. It speaks about identity of South Africans. But in the same breath, is it even something we desire to make it global? Is there desire to and those are the things that we want to learn about today. Do you remember, you are a consumer or you are contributing to local brands? Give us a call on 011-339-1315. Now, you can comment on our social media utilizing the hashtag #DailyTeta.
We did ask you on Facebook, whether or not we're supporting local brands. Shandu Wase African Butter are good morning, Daily Teta. Indeed, local brands are getting the support. Yes, it may be slow, but they are, for example, looking at Batu, it is growing and getting better. South Africans are supporting local brands. As at home, which brands do you have?
Some people even buy brands because they want to support. Buy a mouse, brand, which makes it easier. But some people buy brands for the sake of saying, I have an international brand in my wardrobe. Got a Solili Historica Sarasonto, where she speaks about her passion for local brands in the salon and hair industry. I guess this is what story like.
I own a company called Native Child, and I'm based here in Joburg. Native Child is a company that sells products and products omzimba. Products are plant-based, so we are harsh chemicals. From my point of view, the brand local is, if a brand is South African, meaning local to South Africa, yonke into yenziwa khona la njengathi nje ama products wethu siwenza khona la from scratch, even though ke ama ingredients wathola all over emhlabeni, but the world, but yeah, siyenza khona la. I think for kuba nayo lonto at the beginning yokuba skeptical, but from my own experience, Tina nje as a brand, we have abantu bayithanda brand, they can relate to it. Siyayithola support. I don't know abanye abantu khamba kanjani, but for Tina nje, we've really received a lot of support from the local market, being South Africans, and also surrounding markets like your Botswana, Swaziland, Namibia as well.
Sondo's story is beautiful. I mean, we have and people that consume the product actually support them a lot. Because I know a lot of business owners, and which is an interesting part when it comes to local brands.
I'm quite excited to see Sondo on television today because I use some of her brands and I choose those brands for my own hair, right? Now, we did have an opportunity. We're going actually crossing over to the UK to speak to Patrick Joseph, who is a fashion designer, and he's about to launch his brand right here, Morai. Patrick, welcome to Daily Teta.
Sanibonani emakhaya.
Unjani?
Mphilile sisi.
Hayi siyabonga. Asikhulume about a local brand. What does it take for a brand to become a local brand like South Africa?
Local brand, I think it takes where you have all your supplies and manufacturing sourced at a local point. It means that mhlawumbe ma kune-factory e-KZN, make sure that your raw materials come from the region, your factories based in the region, and as well as you employ local talent.
Asikhulume then nge-cost, because siyazwa ukuthi abanye abantu bayakhala that they would ideally love ukuthi ba-source from South Africa, manufacture like South Africa, but it makes it a bit more cost effective to source overseas, bring it to South Africa and redesign like higher. Would that make it, would that be a big distinguisher of it being a local brand?
I think not necessarily so, because if you look at companies like Apple in America, it's an American brand, but everything is made in China. However, they employ a lot of local people in California. So I think as long as you stay true to your values, that you employ local and make sure you invest local.
Nice.
Patrick, njoba wena uzoqala your brand like South Africa, do you feel like you understand the local market laws ongena kuyona? Because ngiyacabanga ukuthi there has to be a level of understanding from the market and from yourself.
Yes, correct. So I've been studying the SA market for over 15 years now. And I'm well aware, obviously, of the trends each season that are there in SA. So for me, really coming into the local brand, I want to ensure that my brand fits in locally, because at the moment, obviously, I'm based overseas. However, once I launch, everything will be made ekhaya and sold locally.
Patrick, without revealing imfihlo zakho in terms of your USP, what are the top 3 things ozbonayo about the South African market that will definitely resonate in the brand yakho, that if I get these 3 right, South Africans will definitely love impahla zam?
For me, at the moment, my clothes obviously will be made locally. So at the moment, all my materials are sustainable fabrics. At the moment, I care a lot about the environment and the planet. So currently, I use sustainable fabrics. I use sustainable suppliers. I want to ensure that people that work in the factories that I source my clothes to pay people meaningful wages that are meaningful to the people's livelihoods. So for me, I want to ensure that quality is number 1, 2, investing locally.
All right.
Patrick, interesting insights there, and want to bring it back from the UK back into studio Lamzansi. What does our audience think?
My brother, Arbulele, the brands is it a mix of international and local brands? Kapa unali a preference?
Unfortunately, I must admit that I have actually much of the international brands than ama brand are local. In as much as ngathanda kakhulu ukwa supporter and nakhona looking at ukuthi equality yakhona ikanjani, because I'm one person that angithenga. So ngifuna ukuthi mangithenga maybe ngithenge after maybe 6 months and a year. So quality for me really matters. But on my side, there is willingness to support a local brand.
I like that willingness.
Kungani abantu banalento lokuthi bangawathembi ama local brands, bayacomplain abakumele bakhokhe, kodwa when they do buy other brands, they are more willing.
Okokuqala singabantu basemzansi sikholelwa into obana buying the international brand is the best thing, because I see myself as one of the top dogs. Moreover, ndiyayibona inxityo ngu-Thuli P. Thuli P is being undaba mlonyeni ngoku, because ndizophaphela into obana Thuli P ubenxiba uNike ndiwuthande ndiwunxibe nam, Rihanna ubenxiba uNike ndiwuthande nam. And then sinala ngqondo into yobana i-local brands kufanele uba zibize less than the international brands, forgetting into yokubana the person who's designing le local brand naye kufanele collect material, i-transportation fees, zonke eza processes adlula kuzo siyazilibala. Same applies with the international brands, badlula kuzo as the local brands.
Sure.
And I think it plays into very interesting to what we speak about or want to speak about this way at all, because sifuna understand how much support do we give South African local brands to speak to brand creators and also inventors after the break.
It means we should support abantu abathengisa locally, like small entrepreneurship businesses, abantu who are trying to make a living out of whatever they're selling.
Buy locally, I have never heard of that word.
I mean, like, we support the brands within the country, in our country.
Ke nagana hore ke ntho tse tsagalang local, like the business nyana batho ntho tse tsagalang je local.
I think as a South African we have the best brand, you see, in terms of Mofire. Mofire is one of the best brand. It's one of the energy drink, it works. The problem is that outside people, they come and create Hong Kong. That's why we have a problem. You find out that there is a Mofire which is no longer in original. You no longer sees which Mofire is the best. So that's where we accumulate the problem. But when it comes to our brand, we have the best brand in South Africa.
They're pretty dope. Very, very nice shoes. I love them. I really love them. And I like the way now it's spreading. Like, a lot of people have been seeing wearing Casper Nyovest shoes. Like every day I see a new person wearing. Because I won't talk much about election culture. Election culture has been here for years. I had a lot of election culture as a kid. Even now I still have it.
I realized Gucci, I'm a local brands. They charge a lot. So us black people, we cannot support like abantu aba expensive. So I think ukuthi they should decrease our prices wabo as bakala, yabon, so that we can also be able to buy those local brands, as they said that we must support them, but they're always having their prices at a higher price.
We are like also the price is too high for local brands to be selling. People understand what it takes for a brand to build, because South Africa already is suffering because things are cheaper from other places. But in the same breath, I mean, does it mean we must not support our people who are giving us an actual product?
I mean, it's a fair concern. I think price is always a big point, but the question is, are we judging that conversation fairly? And to join our conversation now to find out you support the local brands, what does it actually look like and what does it mean? We've got Skinny Sboo, who is the owner of the #1 African sock made right here on our soil. Of course, that brand is called Skinny Sboo Socks. We're also joined by actress Pasi Kwetle. She's not just an actress, she is also a co-founder of an online clothing store called Uzuri. And we still have Patrick Joseph online joining us all the way from the UK. Welcome to Daily Teta.
Thank you.
Hey. Let's talk about perceptions. Some of the things that maybe on the streets, or people have given you feedback in terms of a local brand.
They think local brands are expensive, they're low quality, and things like that. But I don't, generally, personally, because I don't want to speak for other people, and sitting here today, I've had a full-time job for almost 10 years right now because of 150 of many South Africans over the past 9 years who've bought my product, So I do hear chit chat here and there on social media about the negative connotations of of local brands. But from my personal experience with Skinny Sboo Socks, I've had a time of my life for almost 10 years because of South Africans, abahlala emakhaya, emalokishini, who work extremely hard. And by the way, 150 is a lot of money for someone to part with and buy a pair of socks. But I have had nothing but positive responses from locals.
In the same breath, Skinny Sboo, I mean, what makes people loyal to a brand? What is making people kind of sit into this? I need to buy a pair this month. So keep 150. You're telling a Skinny Sboo.
Okay, cool. I think city. At the end of the day, isikatulo. Anginandaba ukuthi sibize imalini, right? Isokisi skipper. But abantu into abaloyal kuyo, it's the feeling and the emotion that the particular brand gives them. So what kind of emotion and feeling do people get when they see that triple S sign? They think of hustle, they think of go-getting, they think of local, they think of quality. Go on our social media right now. Akekho umuntu okhala ngequality yesokisi lethu. Wonke umuntu utshela ukuthi isokisi lethu they've worn it for 3 years. A sock. So I think the biggest reason why people keep on coming back to Skinny Sboo Socks is our quality, which is something we've never spoken about, but also it's the feeling, and I think I won't lie, it plays to advantage for the mere fact that the founder, Usbusiso Ngwenya, is still alive. I'm still a young South African. I represent majority of South Africans. So when they look at me, they feel like they're spending money on themselves because when they go on there on my social media, they see me with my mom, with my family. So they can see where their money is going.
But see, some of these perceptions, price, quality, are these some of the things were you guys worried about them when you were launching Uzuri?
Yeah, we were worried about prices because, I like what he said about quality. I think for us as Uzuri, the reason why the customer do quality, because sometimes we think Uzuri. How to buy the quality? I wear my own clothes. I'm wearing my own clothes now, and I love the quality. And I like what he said. How about to ban sheba? Uzuri. And it's another thing when you sell stuff but you don't wear them, and I don't have customers buying quality. Some will obviously complain about prices, but I like what he said. The production, making the clothes, buying the material, and also paying rent or online, whatever, it's a lot of money. And it's said that sometimes as people, right reka Nike or Nike, but how about to support that business in Nakabakalauri, Kimapaseka, Mapaseka rich. There's also that. Or you can always rich never. And it's not that. You're not making, yes, I need customers, yes, I need clients, but it's not like you're making me rich. Lena as Mapaseka, I do support so many local brands on social media, the online boutiques, because I feel like we're here to support each other, especially as black people.
But they're also hiring people, and it's families that you're actually
and
supporting.
we radiate. It's not like we're buying them from China and then we selling them. I have my own workshop where we make the clothes, and if it doesn't fit, we alter them. It's a whole production altogether.
Yeah. Maybe do you think business owners or for local products understand the importance of things like customer service, in the sense that, I mean, if I'm not happy a product, are we dealing with our people correctly?
I will speak for myself. I think we do as Uzuri, but sometimes you get customers saying like because kwena, they'll complain about something in higher go Edgar's they want. For example, when you buy something online, I get it's buying online, it's your own risk, I get in terms of size. Obviously for us, if you come and say I bought medium, but medium and I give it you don't go to Edgar's and say, you know, and you get sometimes customers are so unfair in terms of, you know, how they complain. But look, as a shop, we have to be able to always remember the customer is always right. If how can I help you to make you happy, or be satisfied with the product
Nice. Patrick, how are you getting close to the South African market to make sure this brand also release, also launch, izokhuluma like what Mapaseka is saying. You know, it's so unfortunate that when you go to online shops, especially these international ones, you have to size your clothes based on medium, large, and small. But South Africans have a unique shape. So when Udutinko UK right now, batang to launch a brand in South Africa, how do you get yourself closer to the market?
So for me, I've got a great team on the ground in South Africa that do a lot of market research for me. I've got a lot of models that are on the ground that I've given them samples to sample my garments. So Mina, I think I understand. You go to Africa, you need like plus size, because obviously most of our people have got larger bodies. So that was already being tailored for my launch.
And Patrick, in that, I mean, you speak kakulu about research and that, but do you feel like it will represent people? Because, I mean, there's that sense of belonging, Bestenga, Skipper, or Amasogi Sapale Skinny Spool Socks, there's that thing was in Gamazu Spool. Do you feel that the fact that you're in the UK, it might play against you?
It might, but I'm confident that I'll bring a product that is wanted in the market, and I feel good because I'm from Ekaya. People support it, like other guests have said. You know, buying local means that you're supporting your own people. And for me, the biggest key thing is that although I'm based overseas, I'm coming to create employment Ekaya. I'm coming to use local materials Ekaya. So in the end, Iran needs because of what I'm doing.
Spoo, Mapaseka would say a notion that we all love, you know, the customer is always right. Have you ever found yourself bende because of customer preferences?
All the time, you know. At the end of the day, when you're running a business, you don't have a boss, but everybody's giving you money is your boss. You know, I don't care how big or small the amount is. You know, yes, there's gonna be altercations here and there all the time, but at the end of the day, you need to understand that as a business, we are selling these products to actual people, so we have to band all the time.
So
as a matter of fact, we've lowered, this stock has been out for almost 7 years right now.
Yeah.
We had to lower this S down. When people are wearing their shoes, their pants, because that's what the customer wants. They want people to see that they're wearing a skin spool socks, you know. So if you don't bend to customer needs, who are you running the business for? That business is not for you. It's not for your ego. That business is for someone who's gonna pay you money, whether it's 150 or 150,000. That money is needed.
I'm definitely walking into these big warehouse shops and telling them, at Blessing Safe, our daily tete, most South African brands have a target market of high-class earners. 95% of them would sell products that have skyrocketing prices. We really would like to support them, however, we just can't afford.
And that's a key part of the matter because, I mean, if you might like was here, for example, to whatever product you want to buy, because you can't. Kodwa, siyazi ukuthi we are influenced. Kunabantu abadlala indima of changing our minds to say, you can afford it, you can buy it. But we speak about the culture of influence and who really plays a big factor into certain products that we buy. Sasa yona daily tete la SABC 1 bukeli siyajabuza usahleli nathi, and you know we always give you the opportunity ukuthi ushare ucingo on 011-339-1315 as we are currently speaking about, of course, our local brands. Ukuthi, how do we consume them? What are the perceptions that allow us to actually grow brands and ama business mhlambe ayawa because we don't support them? Kwamanje sothatha ucingo olungenayo from uXolani osesikhawini. Xolani siyakwamukela ohlelweni, and what is your contribution this morning?
Ngiyanibingelela kakhulu bafowethu ngendlela engikhonze ngakhona, ngijabula ngendlela emanganisama ngihlezi nani ohlelweni asihlukani nami. Kodwa nje into engifisa ukuyisho ukuthi siyawathanda ama-local brand ngendlela emangasayo. Siyathanda kakhulu ukusupporta amabhizinisi asekhaya. Ingabi yodwa uthi ubalandela ufuna ukubasupporta bahamba endleleni beyilahla quality mase benama-customer amaningi bengasenzi izinto ngendlela e-right. Ukho konke nje ngisho ekuthungeni uthothi bayathunga ubonile into komunye umuntu uthi uma uyayithanda uye kulo muntu kudelela bakuthungele. Imithi ifika isafana lapho ibone khona endleleni baba nakho lokhu ukuyilahla iquality yento mangabe sebesebenza ibhizinisi khona. Yilokho nje ngithi ngabe ngaqikelela kakhulu singaqila kakhulu yikho lokho kusosha sifike kuma-brand ngaphandle ngoba benza into ngendlela eyodwa lokhu sayaqala ukuyibona lokhu yaba njalo kulama brand angaphandle.
Siyabonga kakhulu ucingo lakho Xolani, and I mean interesting factor, the quality, the absolute quality, and when the more customers grow, it's the when we lose the has now gone.
But from a business perspective, and perhaps maybe we can have this conversation. From a business perspective, you know, what can say numbers are quality. Then one I gotta profitize again. Oh yes, it's quality guy. Say what who kill it about lava. So let me know this.
Social media, no business, you know, the quality, quality, so there's also that.
So let's talk about then the pressure of having to manufacture everything in South Africa because Kiona is pushing the price.
I think it's pressure, but like I think how Ukala business, obviously, like you were saying, Patrick, how about to manufacture your own? Then one day I would like to manufacture my own material, but how about no? Like I can actually my own manufacture company, can manufacture my own material. How about no? Obviously, you need to start somewhere and build that profit for you to be able to get to the point where you manufacture everything.
But the barrel rigs is about to
Nna ke na bua maaka vele target market ya ka ke bona batho bao because I'm not going to lie and say ke diaparo tsa ka di cheap or too expensive but ke bona di customer ka tsa ka tse di tlang ke bona batho ba leng hore ha ba rate o apara dintho tse leng hore batho kaofela ba na le tsona.
Okay.
So once this is done, it's done. You
Yes,
know?
jump in.
I think South Africans bana lubu hypocrite nyana.
Ba kene, Papa.
This is what happened. You look at a brand like Cavella. Cavella started in Monaco in South Africa, Carlton Center with just one store. C1, it cost like 2.5 or something, and it's being bought by everyday ordinary South Africans who are considered to be small income earners, right? And then when you come with your own shoe brand, because it's local and you try and price it like Cavella so that you grow fast, they complain because you're not from Italy.
Yeah,
You know?
sure. I do apologize. We've been giving some of these brands so much airtime and Abarabatela. So if we can just bring their names a little, but I get what you are saying in terms of the conversation, because the question then is about who is behind the brand. And perhaps then we can bring in Urorisang, powerhouse strategist. I mean, you are at the forefront of building some of these brands, strategizing with them, giving them the advice that they are looking for. Founder and CEO of Roth Media Group. Welcome to Daily Tata.
Thank you so much. And I mean, Urorisang, let's get into this. I mean, let's talk a bit about what does it take to build a South African brand?
So I think the concept of a brand is an idea, right? And it's so important to have ideas that resonate, that are culturally relevant, that are representative, and that we can be proud of. I think a big part of what brands represent today are things that relate to people, you know? If we can't find ourselves in brands, we lose interest, we don't find them accessible. You know, we want to connect and actually have things that help us build our purpose, help us make ourselves distinct. Like only yours because it doesn't look like anyone else. We want to be distinct, we want to be individual, we want to be able to enjoy and celebrate brands, and that's so critical. So I think a big part of brands, obviously from a commercial standpoint, is things that have equity in name, in corporate identity, in visual representations, in culture. Those things are important.
Now, I've seen both your brands. You guys are actually the influencers on both your brands, right? I've seen you influence, I've seen you wear your brands. Rorisang, are bolele ka tabala influence. Gona le batho ba batla apara something because ba bone mang a sa apere, and they will resonate you on a brand eo. How does that come into play? What has it replaced traditional advertising?
I think it has certainly shaken up things, right? So influencer and influencer marketing gets a bad rep and a bad name. But let's think about it from a global brand's perspective. A great way to localize is with our faces. A great way for them to build relevance is by giving South Africans their brands to adapt, interpret, enjoy, create content around, you know? So I think influence lends itself to many things. It lends itself to positioning for sure. It lends itself to awareness and building awareness for a brand, building relevance for a brand. But it gets a lot of flack because I think a lot of the time it's not always executed correctly. Influence is about co-creation, right? It's about you using your platform. Even the smallest micro voice must matter in influence. You know, 1,000 small voices can do more for a brand sometimes than even a big name. But we are misunderstanding how it applies. And yes, it's here to disrupt, but I think it's here to actually add value. And it's all based on as a strategic driver.
And I think maybe to bring it back, Skinisbu, I mean, Skinisbu, go 150 sounds like a lot. How did you find, or what did you have to do to able to influence in market to normalize a pair of socks for 150?
I think into minenze ukuthi sikwazi ukubeka iprice yethu lapayana and just focus as a brand is because we're building in the long term, you know. It didn't matter to me, our brand is 9 years old right now. It didn't matter 5 years ago or even 7 years ago that we're making a profit or not. As long as we get tons of South Africans wearing our product, we get it on the right platforms, on the right stores, with the right people, you know. So for me, it's just, I've always known from day one, Uguti, I am not building an NGO. The one word I hate the most is the word support when it comes to business. I'm not running a soccer team or an NGO. I'm not asking people to support me. I'm giving you a quality product. Hence, I'm costing it at 150. and it's sold at Markham stores. So it's the same convenience with other brands. We're not compromising anything, you understand? So we're able as a brand to go out and say our product costs this much because the value of it is like this. So I think the small thing internally, as an organization, you need to understand, we are not asking for people to support. We're giving people quality product in exchange for money so that we can produce more and keep on doing that.
It's definitely a mindset
And if I can jump in there as well, it's so critical that we don't undervalue our brands.
Yes.
To the point that he made earlier, it's so easy for us to go and value something from outside instead of like actually finding things to enjoy and to like actually build our own local brands because we are naturally valuing them. So it shouldn't be that just because the sock is Italian, it must be more valuable than what you do. Because the one key thing is that Italians celebrate their exports. They celebrate them so much because they don't have as many natural resources, so their export brands mean everything to them. We need to adopt the same mentality because we have some of the most exciting brands here locally that we can
Stop
do.
saying support
and stop saying
first.
support.
Let's stop with
I
that word.
totally agree.
No support, we're buying.
Mapaseka kotsi ya go berekisa popularity, you know, sometimes o berekisa an influencer, mara ge re mmona ko strateng a apare diaparo tsa gago mara all over social media o di apere o bolela ka tsona. Talk to us about kotsi eo.
I think for now, how I even started the business, influencer for other people's businesses. And then I started doing it for this lady. This lady, actually, you're bringing so much money for me. It's for yourself, and then I partnered with her. At least I partnered with her. I this business together. So I think for me it works because, like you said, I'm my own influencer. I wear my clothes, get face off. But like the problem is now trying to find influencers. It's or even skin product, whatever that you're selling. So it's a bit tricky because on social media and in real life.
You know, it's an interesting way that you put it when you speak about Uguti, you got to make it work because we want to know after the break, Uguti, how can we take the brand Gate Gate to the next level? Look at cool, and we'll learn more about that. Persuade Dollar.
Ngombono wami awufani ne-local market, even though you're still presenting perhaps the same brand, but you would need to communicate it differently. But also your language in how you communicate agege fani njengalana. So you need to understand low market oyongena kuyona. Africa, I think Africa as a whole, we're very similar, but once you go outside of the African continent, you will need to adjust to that particular market. You know, man bonatiwa, buy 2 get 1 free. The retailer you are paying for that. Mauqeda, you must pay to go to the catalog abo, and it goes in the hundreds of thousands. I mean, in terms of, so you have to pay upfront, and if you don't have that liquid cash, kubanzima to kind of keep going. That's why I bought my products on shelf for, you know, whoever, And then all of a sudden now saboni, because those are type of the things that hazenza ukuthi yabona ugcina ungakwazi. So big brands that have been around for 100 years, bona they've got the budget. So uma unganayo budget, so it's very difficult. Ubalulekile ukuthi ukwazi ukunegotiate nabo, ubachazela ukuthi ilanga ikhona njengamanje. I can contribute so much. So you need to be able to understand the finances of the business, because you can run a business and not make any money. Native child in a demand all over, actually, not just South Africa, and not just Africa as well. But for example, like Nigeria has been asking for us to kind of have the products there. The US has been asking, the UK. So there is a global market that's available for us. But of course, you have to take everything until uzufike lapho, because that requires money. It's not a matter of, outing your bag and it's not as easy as that. It does require money, it does require resources, it does require people that you can trust and all of that. But we do see Native Child being a global brand.
Usonto, continuing sharing knowledge nathi lamhlanje and explaining about the things that you need to consider in that business. I mean, scaling, ukukhulisa business, sometimes it's not just about money. It's knowing and having access to abantu who can help you make your product cheaper. Kodwa says ukuthi being a brand isn't just about a product. Abantu that have turned into personalities that are also brands in the world.
And I love South Africa because South Africa's actually we've got some of the most amazing inventors. Creator, mixer, our brains work so well. And we're going to be introducing Emmanuel Motabi, who's the inventor of a proudly South African product called All Weather Tag. Doesn't matter pula or rain, sunshine, siadula. So Emmanuel, welcome to Daily Teta.
Okay, thank you.
Before I come back to you, Emmanuel, one thing that Sonto and I think that's the conversation we're having, going to the next level, right? And Rory Sanke batla go botsisa gore na next level e ra gore going overseas?
Next level e tlo go ra dilo tse dintsi, right? Because se re tlhaloganyang gona nyana ke gore market ya Africa ya bula. Ya bula and sentse re itirele, right? And the more it's our perspective here, the more we'll look less outside and more inside in terms of building the businesses tsa rona le di brands tsa rona. Mara se se botlhokwa ke gore ha re ya kontle, when we do globalize, what do we look like and how do we show up, right? And that is a key thing in ensuring that brand owners that are African and brand owners that are South African get the same value for their brands as what a global player would have exported it at from a packaging standpoint. So it's really going to depend gore if wena as Boo utsa brand ya gago o batla go isa o le distributor globally o batla go build equity ka mo site there are category rules for brand ya gago go etsenang ko teng, tshwantse position e, tshwantse marketing ya gago seriously, tshwantse business value chain ya gago seriously, o tshwantse o nne global player in the commercial meaningful brand ways that are going to make you impactful. So na for na, if African brands can have more IP around how to show up as global players, this is going to really sound like in a really big way, because I think we'll see a lot more success.
Yeah, and also maybe to bring Emmanuel into this. I mean, Emmanuel, I think it's a very amazing invention. I mean, Utiela is not something normal that someone says I want to do. So tell us the story. What you wanted to create this, and what was the reason at the time?
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, I'm an inventor of this asphalt or a new tar. So I get like an idea. There were a lot of accidents, a lot of potholes. And then if Reka Hopola, there was a bad accident that happened on the N1 to Limpopo of a quantum and a traveler from Pretoria to Polokwane. And then about 17 people got burnt because a SUV and a quantum they just collided, So you can just imagine the pothole, how many lives get lost. And then beside the government is costing the fiscus a lot of money. So why don't we come with a solution to this Botatabadi pothole? But then ha ke solve bothata ba mo South Africa fela at home. Yeah, the problem is continent wide, it is international. Yeah, so that gives you also, you know, a foot in the international market.
Kodwa-ke manje yini eyenza ukuthi kuhluke? What's the difference between what you've created? Because I mean, they can use anyone. Kungani kumele basebenzise i-product yakho lo soyakhile wena?
Or product yaka ila tlameha e ye ko lab-e, e phase ko lab-e, and ha e fetsa ho phasa ko lab-e, ila phasa di-test tso tsohle. So again, the engineering, I'm a chemical engineer by passion, but by logic, I'm an economist. Yes.
Kunali this label we buy or locally South African product.
Yes.
E go berekela byang? Because as I'm listening to you, o bolla ka tabela gore sa ka se kontiris kana sa diriswa anyway.
Yes,
I get it.
yes.
Why then do you want to associate with this proudly South African?
Yes, because I mean, South Africa is my home, and then I will first be happy. It will really give me much comfort to see ke solve bothata mo hae pele before ke outside. You know, yeah, charity begins at home. Yes, I would like to see our nation thrive mo discontinent tse safer, tse senang di-accident. Then I can then take that to the outside world. Yes, yeah.
Let's take it back to Patrick. Patrick, I mean, you in the UK, what designer, where you are, Humanati. Why you batla go tlisa a brand to South Africa where you potentially could have a big win in the UK?
I think my brand, as I said before, is more about growing local economies. You know, and South Africa and we are high. So I feel like I must also invest where I come from. Yes, of course, I'm making money here, but I think not forgetting where I come from. And for me, coming home, I will obviously inspire other new emerging designers. I will create employment, and I will have a quality product that will be worn by local people.
Patrick, we also see this growth of people saying that once your brand has made it internationally, it's more recognized and more respected. What do you think we need to do with ihlonishwe thina ekhaya when your brand is there and people in your own community are saying this is a brilliant brand?
I think it's the marketing. Marketing is key. People believe what they see. So if your marketing is good, if you've got a good team behind you, as Rolly said, everything then aligns. So your marketing must match your brand as well. If the quality matches the marketing, you will succeed in any global market.
Mapasek. Next level overseas you know, if I can just boom you know, for Wena and Uzuri, next level
I think next level ya rona, not sometimes people think house are low overseas, maybe your dreams are limited and whatnot, and it's not always the case. I want to see Uzuri in shops here in South Africa. I want to have my own but you know them, those big shops, anyone can just walk in and buy. So that's my at the moment, that's where I see myself. Or Uzuri Ibe got different shops where people can just walk in and buy a set or whatnot.
Speaking about different shops, because some people have you weighed the options and that was a better option for model Yalona? Why was that the shop?
I run a physical store already, but for someone let's say Bloemfontein, I don't. Some people want even though ili really Uzuri. Some people have this mentality. Then they trust the brand. So why not? If there's an opportunity to make money, why not? And if here we have a store, but someone go and if there's an opportunity for that, why not?
Actually, people are still old school. If I'm getting a store, they don't trust it because there's also an old culture or old tradition that we believe in the touch, and things have changed. And now we want to find out what are the things we need to know and be aware of. Njoba sikhulisa lama friends wethu swabona eMzansi.
Welcome back to Daily Tats and the local brands are on South Africa. Naradi support and nine. What about them is going to make them so unique? I create founder in comparison to whichever other brand that could be out there in the market.
Absolutely. And I to hear the stories of the people behind these brands. I guess that's Facebook for from Lil Mo Trini Utige. We can take our local brands to the next level by understanding how customers experience products and services and how it affects retention, brand perception, and competitive advantage. Hashtag Daily Teta.
What's your competitive advantage, Smo?
I think our story, number one, you know, people connect to our story, whether we like it or not. We've tried in the past. I've had multiple partners who are like, no, go in the background, let's push the product itself and things like that. At the end of the day, the ordinary consumer who keeps on buying our brand for the past 9 years, they love the story. Number two, it's our quality as well. But also, I think our secret as well has been our partnerships over the years, you know. We started out with Superbalist, went to Starterfords, now with the Foschini Group, Markham stores throughout the country. So people like the growth of our brand and the kind of partnerships that we have. They feel like every time they put in money, they are pushing it to grow, you know. So I think those are our competitive advantage. Everything about our brand works to make what Skinny Spoon Socks is.
You've made some iconic moves.
Definitely, honey.
Honey.
So Skinny Spoon Socks is the official sock partner for the Oscars 2022 and the Grammys.
Yes, honey.
And the Grammys 2022.
Yeah.
Because from day one, you know, now I've been very aware of myself and my brand. Skinny Spoo is me, right? So we have
it's not the sock.
It's not the sock. And people are focused on that. We have different business models, right? Ellen DeGeneres, you go to her website, she sells every kind of product.
Yes.
Trevor Noah sells his own tickets. It doesn't have a mediator in the middle. Oprah Winfrey. So I follow that same model. It's the personality model, right? So from here, right now, you go to my store. It's called what? Skinny Spoo Store. I'm going to have cars or whatever it is. It's going to be called Skinny Spoo Super Cars or whatever it is.
Sell anything.
So now my model, it's a celebrity business model, meaning that you build a name, and after you've built that name, you can create any product. You can create Skinny Spoo Show or anything.
I mean, also to bring it in, when you put your name next to a product like that, kuna much disadvantages. You know, there is that thing which if Skinny Spoo ends the entity that is against the law and puts him in the dark or in the negative light. I mean, ask me about the repercussion of doing something like that.
So it definitely has its detractors, same as it has its advantages, I guess. I would say one of the key ones, once the story soils, once the story sours, I really think we in personal capacity, it's a amaning business at all, but it carries a halo effect, boilang mo businessing affected negatively. So I think, so there's very key things and parameters that you dirang go avoid the pitfall the model, right? But a lot of the time, lina la moto can also be an advantage. Nagana di brand tseo di itseng tse nang le leina la motho, family names, it build a heritage, it build a legacy. It's a serious because leina la gago ke reputation ya gago. Nako nngwe it's not a bad thing to do at all. Mare mo eta go busetsang ko morago ke ha go ka dira sengwe se leng gore just in this cancel culture it really destroys fabric building. So when you're considering the models as the entrepreneur or the brand owner, please consider in the cultural context best suits your brand. And then how is that decide? Or build the principles and without minimizing.
It's amazing how different we are. For me, I started vice versa. Because I had my own fears of sometimes people like spending money where you spend money is seeing highly business. So like post uzuri as if it's someone else's. I didn't say it's someone else's. And people bought. And only later on I started being comfortable being able to say uzuri, I co-own uzuri. So the other way around because I had my own fears and my own insecurities as mapaseka. And like you said, the cancel culture, it's a thing. But I'm not I was just like, I want to test and see hore batho ba ka ke bo mang ke etse jwang pele ha ke ka ba confident hore actually ke yaga.
Emmanuel, very bold. As a young person or who's watching Daily Tesa Lekgono, what am I
I can say to young people, be bold, be innovative, believe in yourself. Yes, in this country, you can become whatever you want to become. The government is there to support us, and let's go out there.
And you received government support?
Yes, I've received a lot of government support. Yeah, if I can mention a few institutions, CSIR, the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. My commercial partners are South African National Roads Agency Limited, SANRAL, Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport. Yes, so those are my commercial partners. But then I would say, yes, young people must, explore those ideas, take them to the next level. Value proposition, because what you put out there, the customer will want it because based on the value proposition to say what is it in, how is it going to benefit me? Yes.
Something because I know you're very passionate and as briefly as possible.
Yes.
Abantu who see the sticker of Proudly South African or Abai 75, do you believe Abantu trust in that product, or it really convinces them to buy more local?
I don't think so much it has to do with the, the Proudly South African, because let's work first, let's look at the product itself. Then we work from the product, then to the value proposition and all of that. So everything cascades from the quality of the product. Remember, quality comes from the head, the heart, and the hands. That's a combination of quality.
Patrick, current designers dealing more South Africa, what advice from you, let's say, not yet entering the market, what is the one thing that you can advise our current designers, young, old, everybody?
I think they must be aware of the global impact that the fashion industry does in terms of wastage. So here in Europe, really, brands are looked at very harshly. Waste is it or recycling. So I think you must be very, very aware of those key principles, and early on start to think of those things as you are growing your business.
I like that. Thank you so much. Thank you to all our guests that have joined us today. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Go out there. Remember, buy black, buy local is not a strategy. However, it's something that we as South Africans do for each other.
Absolutely. And also remember, increase the products.